Hello, welcome to the Night Radio and Television Station. Here come the latest updates. Deputy Prime Minister Trịnh Đình Dũng has just signed a decision approving the National Master Plan on e-commerce development in the 2021-2025 period. The plan has specific goals to be achieved by 2025. In terms of e-commerce market size, 50% of the population will participate in online shopping, with the average value of buying goods and services online of $600 per person per year. E-commerce sales of enterprises to consumer e-commerce model will increase by 25 per year, reaching $35 billion, accounting for 10% of the total retail sales of consumer goods and services nationwide. In terms of infrastructure of ancillary services for e-commerce, non-cash payment in e-commerce will reach 50%, of which payments made through intermediary payment service providers account for 80%. Average cost for delivery and final order completion will account for 10% of the product costs in e-commerce, and 30% of purchases on websites and e-commerce applications will have electronic bills. According to the General Statistics Office, the total import and export turnover of the first 5 months of 2020 was estimated at $196.84 billion, down 2.8% over the same period last year. Export turnover was estimated at $99.36 billion, down 1.7% over the same period, of which the domestic economic sector reached $33.3 billion, up 10.4%. FDI sector reached $66.06 billion, down 6.9%. Import turnover is estimated at $97.48 billion, down 3.8%. Thus, in the first 5 months of this year, Vietnam's trade balance of goods was estimated to have a trade surplus of $1.9 billion, of which the domestic economic sector has trade deficit of $8.6 billion. FDI sector had a trade surplus of $10.5 billion. From the beginning of the year until now, there have been 17 items of export turnover of over $1 billion, accounting for 82% of the total export turnover. According to the General Department of Statistics, after the social distancing measures were loosened, along with the positive input from the government's business support policies, the registration of business establishments in May grew back. Specifically, in May, there were over 10,700 newly established enterprises in the country, with a registered capital of 112,700 billion Vietnam dong, an increase of 36% in the number of enterprises and of more than 20% in the registered capital compared to April. In addition, our country welcomed more than 5,000 enterprises returning to operation, an increase of 32.7% over the previous month, and an increase of more than 105% over the same period in 2019. The National Guard has intensified in many major U.S. cities after the wave of protests against ethnic violence threatened and lasted for 5 consecutive nights. The U.S. Department of Defense said about 5,000 members of the National Guard have been deployed in 15 states, including Washington, D.C., and about 2,000 soldiers are on standby. On May the 30th, the governor of Minnesota announced that the entire National Guard in the state was deployed for the first time since World War II. In New York, police arrested 350 protesters, while 30 security guards were slightly injured. To date, more than 20 U.S. cities have imposed the night curfew to prevent violence, vandalism, and looting caused by some extremists. The police used rubber bullets and tear gas to disperse crowds in cities. The wave of protests in the U.S. has spread to Europe as hundreds of people marched in Britain and Germany, protesting racism in the United States. In Berlin, the German capital, the march of protesters had entered the second day. Hundreds of people gathered in protest in front of the U.S. Embassy in Berlin, chanting slogans against the violent actions of U.S. police, as well as the name George Floyd. George Floyd, a black American victim, killed when arrested by the U.S. police in the city of Minneapolis. Meanwhile, in London, the British capital, thousands of people gathered to protest in front of the U.S. Embassy in Trafalgar Square, carrying banners in support of the protests that are spreading across the United States. Some protesters claimed they were determined to march, despite the risk of infection during the serious COVID-19 pandemic in the UK. That's all the news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.